Hello and welcome to the Simplify webinar series. I'm David McBee. It's the second Monday of the month, and that means a new webinar. This month we're focusing on addressable geofencing and the addressable audience curation tool. And we're going to share several example use cases of how you can utilize this amazing technology to help your advertisers succeed. As you know from our previous webinars, addressable geofencing pairs GPS and Plat-Line data to identify the exact property locations that advertisers wish to target, making it a highly precise and scalable solution. It allows us to easily reach users where they spend the majority of their time and across all of the devices in a home, including connected TVs. Advertisers can leverage addressable geofencing via two methods. They can capitalize on existing first-party data by uploading address lists directly into the Simplify platform with an average 90% match rate, by the way. So that's like their CRM list or any list that they may have purchased. The second way is to use Simplify's addressable audience curation tool to build custom addressable audiences in real time using full Boolean and/or logic. We can create audiences using location data and over 1,000 demographic variables to activate a relevant addressable audience. The Simplify system automatically matches the exact physical location of each property and draws a target fence around it to capture users for targeting. We can even offer the ability to use the visitor frequency option to specifically target frequent visitors, infrequent visitors, or all visitors to further filter the audience. No matter their size, advertisers from every industry can greatly benefit from targeting users at the address level, and they can do so with video, display, native, or CTV ads. Simplify's cross-device graph associates all of the devices in a household, thereby linking mobile, tablets, desktop, and connected TVs. This makes it easy to reach users across all of their devices, and it enables attribution for both online and offline conversions. While addressable geofencing was originally built to work with advertisers' CRM lists, Simplify quickly discovered the value of curating lists for advertisers. We do this using our addressable audience curation tool. The AAC tool uses available offline data to curate unique audiences for your advertisers to target. Here is just a small sampling of the 1,000+ variables that we have available. We can build a list of people who have a specific education, are married or single, have kids, are empty nesters, are right out of college, or are about to retire. We can target people who own a home of a certain age or square footage, have a car loan, have a gold or platinum credit card, have a high household income, or are in need of a same-day loan. We can reach people who live in a single-family dwelling, a nursing home, a dorm, an apartment, or even on a farm. The list goes on. Please reach out to your Simplify account manager for a complete list of over 1,000 demographics and interest-based audiences. Next, I'm going to share with you some examples that we came up with to really show off how the technology can be utilized. And while the following use cases demonstrate how various industries and businesses can utilize Simplify's addressable audience curation tool, these are just some of the possible applications. As you can imagine, the audience combinations are endless for nearly any type of advertiser. So if you don't see your industry here, please reach out to us to find out what we can build for you. All right, let's start with an attorney example. In this example, we've got a small business attorney that wants to grow their client base. The AAC tool can build an audience that targets small business owners in the local DMA whose businesses generate, say, $250,000 to $3 million in sales revenue and are, say, 2 to 5 years old. That's a very specific audience, but that might be exactly ideal for this particular attorney. Additionally, we can set up a conversion zone around the attorney's office to track foot traffic conversions. Here's an idea for an auto repair shop that is trying to recruit and hire mechanics. They can use the commercial property targeting feature to target other auto repair shops in the local DMA. Then they can choose to show ads only to frequent visitors of those shops or the employees of those shops rather than their customers. Who would a beauty personal care store like to target? Okay, most likely they want to reach women. But what if they could target households with women who have previously purchased cosmetics and other beauty products, or households with women who are interested in reading about fashion? And of course, we would track foot traffic conversions by creating a conversion zone around their store. Here's an example for a bookstore that wants to generate turnout for a mystery romance author's book signing. Using the AAC tool, we can target households with females who have a history of purchasing books and are interested in reading fiction, mystery, or romance novels. And a conversion zone around the bookstore, of course, especially on the day of the event. How about B2B software companies? All right, let's imagine one that specializes in HR software. They want to sell their payroll software to businesses in some of their top markets. Now, believe it or not, we can target households within those DMAs that feature C-level executives of businesses with 10 to 49 employees. Now, that's pretty specific. As for attribution, since this is not a physical location where customers would visit, we would instead track online conversions by tracking their form fills or requests for more information on their website. Here's a car dealership whose goal is to encourage drivers to lease a family-friendly vehicle. Using the AAC tool, we can create an audience of nearby households with users who have vehicle leases ending in the next 90 days, have a specific household income, maybe it's high, maybe it's low, depending on the cost of the vehicle, and have, say, at least one child. And of course, a conversion zone around their showroom would be in order. Let's look at a college that is promoting graduate programs to young adults. An easy audience to build and target would be households that feature adults under 35 who have undergrad degrees. And let's build a conversion zone not just around the whole school, but rather the school's admission office in order to make sure those conversions are highly accurate. What about a craft store, especially say at holiday time? Let's target households in the local DMA that feature women who are 35 years or older, or men. If they're targeting men, we can create an audience of men, of course, have previously purchased craft and hobby merchandise, and are interested in arts and crafts, do-it-yourself, knitting, and or sewing. Now, by the way, notice I said and or. So generally speaking, using and means that the target audience would have to qualify for all of the variables that you've listed. And that could mean that you get so specific that you end up with a small audience. Using or means the person could like arts and crafts or knitting, meaning you would have more targets available to you. So if you submit an audience to us and it isn't big enough, maybe we're struggling to deliver, then switching a simple and to an or could open up that audience a lot and make it possible to deliver the campaign in full. This one is for a credit union with a very specific goal to introduce consumers to their new low-interest credit card. With our offline data, Simplify can curate a list of nearby households where the people have credit cards from Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover, and are in the fourth quartile. That's the highest average for total credit card balances. That might encourage them to do kind of one of those balance transfers to the low interest card. And the credit union can drive traffic to their online application or to their physical location, and we can measure either of those conversion goals. How about a gym or community fitness center that wants to increase individual gym memberships? Now, thanks to our interest-based demographic targeting, we can, of course, reach individuals who are interested in aerobics, walking, running, fitness, or healthy living. But because this example wants to increase individual memberships, we can target households with unmarried individuals. But of course, you could also target married people or people with kids if you wanted to increase family memberships. Additionally, the gym can upload their current list of members, and that gives us the ability to exclude them from our targeting, thereby avoiding wasted impressions. All right, here's an easy enough one. Landscaping company can use addressable geofencing to increase their residential client base by simply targeting single-family homes in specific zip codes. They could even choose to target members of HOAs and or properties of a certain size. Here are some ways that a pet store can showcase cat products to cat owners or dog products to dog owners. Households that feature a dog, or households that feature a cat. Well, technically it features the dog owner or a cat owner, but I mean, that would imply that there's a dog or cat there, right? Or for that matter, we could even go after those crazy households that have both a dog and a cat. Here's an interesting audience for a department store that's trying to sell more of their women's business attire. We can create a target audience of career-minded, working women over 25 with a household income of $70,000 in nearby postal codes. And of course, a conversion zone around the department store would help us track the return on this ad spend. In this example, our store wants to sell more of their high-end merchandise. So let's target an audience with a high household income and say a gold or platinum credit card. Not to mention, they have an interest in what the advertiser is selling. And a conversion zone around the store, of course. This audience is built from homeowners who have been in their home for over a year. And of course, we'd want a conversion zone around the furniture store to track foot traffic conversions to the store. This use case focuses on a specific kind of homeowner, but the real brilliance here is that using Simplify's technology, none of their ads will be delivered to apartments. That alone is a win for any home improvement store. Here's a jewelry store that is using our technology to remind married men that Valentine's Day is coming up. Thank you very much for that reminder. And what music shop, looking to book more lessons, wouldn't want to target households where there is a child around the age of 7 or older and a musical instrument? This physical therapist example makes use of current client information to create a lookalike audience of individuals over 35 who are interested in physical activities and fitness. And like so many of these examples, a conversion zone around the office can track new patient visits. Politics. How about politics? Simplify does a lot for political advertisers. And in fact, we have an entire webinar all about our political offering. So check that out. This example targets independents who care about the environment, and a conversion zone around the polling stations will help determine the effectiveness of this campaign. Here's an example of how a luxury resort can target people of a certain household income who have taken a cruise in the past. Now, that's not exactly the same, but it's the same kind of an audience. So in this example, we would track online conversions via the advertiser's website. All right, so this one is pretty specific. Rather than simply focusing on homeowners, which is what most roofing companies would probably do, this example looks at the roof composition and the age of the home in order to find roofs that are most likely in need of repair. Okay, this is a shoe store targeting families, simple enough, but this example also highlights how an online store can track sales and even transactional value to measure the exact return on ad spend. Here's a sporting goods store easily targeting folks who like camping, hiking, skiing, hunting, and the outdoors. And of course, a conversion zone would track foot traffic. And finally, how about a brand new sports bar that's wanting to target people who are old enough to drink and like all the things that they show on their 17 big screen TVs while they serve chicken fingers and nachos? With, of course, a conversion zone around the sports bar to measure the impact of the campaign. I think that's probably enough examples to give you an idea of what you can do with Simplify's addressable geofencing and addressable audience curation technology. Thank you for joining us today on the Simplify webinar series. For more information on how you can take advantage of Simplify's tactics, reach out to your Simplify account manager or send an email to hi@simply.fi. Please join us each month for new episodes of the Simplify webinar series and visit simply.fi/webinars for all of our previously recorded episodes. I'm David McBee. Be awesome, and I'll see you next time.